All right, I think it's maybe a little bit past time. So allow your feet to touch. We'll start in Tai Chi Harmony. Calibrate, pull your head top up, sink your feet into the ground. Adjust your camera if you need to. Let's see if that's a little bit better. Am I centered? I don't know. Grip your feet, push your head top up, connect the tongue to the upper palate, relax your face and jaw, open your vision, relax your sinuses. Extend your neck, relax your shoulders. Use your center to support. Lifting at the base of the torso. Activate your feet, your heels. Allow your knees, it's not straight, they're not locked, they're bent. So that means that your tailbone will move so there's no silhouette. Your tailbone is sinking. Take a deep breath and relax. Let's start with just some Qigong. So breathing, make it a stretch, reach all the way to the top. Allow your hands to reach to the sides. So at each point along the movement, as if your fingers are extending beyond. Is it a circle, the shape that we're making? Go at your own pace, and wherever you're at, just do 3 more. Make it the most relaxed breathing of the week so far. When you finish, return back to Tai Chi Harmony. Bring the feet together, the hands together. Connect the upper palate. Lift the base of the torso. Activate the toes. And then next, let's do some stretching. So I want you to mind your head, neck, and shoulders. So I put my hands to lock my shoulders into place. And I want you to use your nose to draw the largest infinity symbol that you can. So you're making a complete circle on one side, but also extending the back of your neck. So extending your head top up and turning from side to side. Start small and make bigger ones. Only do what you feel is safe and comfortable. And we want to be extending the neck. For any of you that took classes in the park in Westwood, I used to teach this one as the giraffe eating the tall fruit, right? So if you know the term low-hanging fruit, it means it's easy to reach, right? So in this case, the best fruit is the one that's the most difficult to reach. So imagine that you're a giraffe and you have a tree on either side of you, and you need to reach to the top of that circle. You can imagine kind of a stylized, rounded cartoon tree, and you're going to come back up because we want to be extending the neck. The reason to talk about the giraffe is we could just slouch here and make some circles. It's not very good for you. So instead, reach. And the reason I changed it to giraffes, the way this was taught to me, is there's a devil and they have the horns, right? And the horns actually trying to point upwards and draw a circle upwards, right? You can use any type of analogy that you like. Come back to the center. And next, we're going to do sort of the opposite thing. Instead of reaching up, I want you to allow gravity to do the work. So even though it looks like I'm tilting my head forward, I'm actually pushing up through the back of my neck. So for anyone old enough to remember a cellular phone or some other type of device that has an antenna, FM radio sometimes had the telescoping antenna. I want you to imagine that with the top vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae, that you can imagine that you're extending them and turning them so that your chin is towards your sternum, so that you're pushing up to stretch out your head and neck. And then, while you're in that position, rolling left and right. So, feel where it's tight. And then come back to the center. So next, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So, by the way, you can, if that last exercise feels good, all these Dao Yin that we do, this is our warm-up is considered a Dao Yin, like sometimes referred to as soft yoga. I don't like the term soft yoga because it implies maybe that it's easy or not effective. All of these Dao Yin ideas are concepts that you can take with you into the week after you sit at the desk for some hours, after you sit in traffic for some hours. You can take your head and neck and stretch it out. More involved shoulder movement. So roll all the way back. If I face the camera, I want to turn my shoulder line with the camera, or in line with your center line. So time it with the breathing. And feel as if the movement is coming from your center. So the whole quadrant, from your center to your side, all the way up your center line, all of that is moving. So I want you to feel that you can move the skin on your ribs, on your rib cage, across your shoulder blade, across your collarbone, pectoralis, the deltoids. All of this is moving. Imagine that you can imagine a snake shedding its skin, or if you're stuck inside of a sleeping bag and you want to roll yourself, so how relaxed and how soft you can make all of that stuff. Keep your head top up there. Keep the neck straight. Change directions if you haven't. And of course, remember to breathe. Turn all the way to the center. So you're kind of turning your spine and bringing the shoulder joint up and over. Come back to the center and relax. Let's do a few of these. So make sure that you have space, you don't hit something. And going forwards and backwards, the same thing with this. We want to imagine the spine, and instead of twisting, this is more of a rocking movement. So allow, your shoulder joint is kind of like a harness. It's not like your hip is like a ball joint that does this, but the shoulder the pecs kind of come up and connect it this way, and these muscles in the back kind of come across, and then that whole thing sits over top of your. So use the shoulder harness on both sides to move with gravity, to move with the momentum. Keep the head top up there. And in the back, the backs of the hands. And by the way, so take a break for a second, breathe. when we're doing this one, if you try to keep your hands higher, it's more difficult. I'll face this way if you watch. So if I do my hands way up here, I can't get them to connect. You may get a different kind of stretch. With this one, if you keep them up there, you have to remember you're going to reach a point of tension where they don't touch. So we don't want to go into the extreme. Remember, Tai Chi is reaching the 99.9% without reaching, because in this case, if the elbows or wrists open to it too extreme, it can be dangerous. But now watch if I do down here, right? If I allow my hands to connect down here. Very easy. So you want to have a balance between pulling this open, and this is actually a type of cheekbone type of exercise we can do. And then the same thing in the back. If you don't mind the feeling, your hands may alternate. One hand is higher, and then the next time it's lower. So it goes over on one side, under on the other. And you can use this type of hitting as a stimulation. Take a break when you feel like you got a lot of benefit from this one. Tapping is a form of stimulation. You can use it on plants. You can use it where there's something where the chi is not moving. So when we're doing this one, this kind of hitting, you can send energy into the lungs on the bottom. And on the top, if you have this, people generally having stress, tension here, you can use this type of hitting to release that. Let's continue with the same concept. Root yourself, sink your tailbone, straighten your spine, push up on the head top, breathe deep, and send your hands on vacation. Send your fingertips all the way out there. And for this one, by the way, we want to keep everything in the center of the body. Keep working. All of this part should be relaxed except the center. The abdominal muscles in here are both the starting and stopping mechanism. So we don't want to be out of control. Don't let your shoulders fly to where it forces your head top to turn. That's too much. From the center. And then when you relax your tailbone and you push your head top up, your spine is in its straightest. And then when you twist around that, so really relax your shoulders. Relax the full shoulder harness. Check to see if you have a very serious expression while you practice. And relax. By the way, one of my favorite and probably most subtle teaching of TC, if you for any that were around to remember him, he used to tell students when they were leaving the class, he would tell them to have fun, or he would tell them to be safe. And those two statements are related. They're sort of a yin-yang of each other. And we can talk more about that later. But if your practice makes you worse, what good is it? If you don't enjoy the practice that you do, there's no benefit. So if it gives you a scowl, right, maybe it's time to check a different practice. So enjoy it at least at the point of having a half smile. Where were we? We were doing upper body, middle body. Let's do some folding yoga. So a lot of times I say make your feet parallel, but some of you have a practice and you have a stable practice. So if you feel more comfortable, you can bring your feet together. If you're not what in the medical they would say a fall risk, something like this. If you feel comfortable with your practice, you bring your feet together, and then when we do this folding, you can add another element by touching your ankles, the heels, the tendon in the back, and pulling your torso forward. So, but if you're not sure about your balance or you are new to this type of practice, you can take a comfortable wide stance, grip your toes, and take your spine offline. One of the primary things for this is allowing your spine to hang vertically. So really relax your head and neck. And then see if you can allow the relaxation to go to a point where you feel the blood moving, you feel the chi moving in your body. And then when you're ready, grip your toes, unroll your spine all the way up. You can do this one if you want to reach. Do that. Let's do the same thing again, one more time. And remember, we want to find the balance of being inverted, having our spine upside down for just the right amount of time. We don't want to go overboard so that we become lightheaded, and we don't want to do it so little that we don't get the proper stretch. So find the correct balance for you. Grip your toes, whichever stance you choose to take. And of course, remember to breathe. Especially remember to breathe when you're upside down or when you're in a unique position. And then when you're ready, lock your feet to the earth, breathing, unroll your spine. You can inflate all the way, reach all the way up, and relax. Next, something we haven't done in a little while is if you take a slightly wider than shoulder width stance and just turn some hip circles. So, and I think of these more as hip diamonds. So I think of, there's 4 points on each side, right? Left, right, front, and back. So like the corners of a compass, try to hit north, east, south, and west. So turn. Another concept that I think about is keeping the spine straight. So if you're extending the neck up there, like the giraffe reaching for the fruit, and your tailbone is sunk, the spine sort of does this while the lower body is doing this. So if you think of your lower body as a pedestal and your upper body, make it fixed. Make the spine straight and correct. Use your abs, and of course, remember to breathe. If you haven't changed directions, you can think of also just drawing a circle. So as if you're, like you have a hula hoop that's stationary and you want to hit all the points on the hula hoop. And remember, in this one, this is your workout, so there may be some areas that feel better. You may sort of push out to that point in the circle a little bit to feel the stretch. Breathing. On your own, return back to the center. Let's do some leg stretching. So again, if we step shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep, just like a Tai Chi type step, I'm going to sink back onto my rear foot. I'm going to use my knee for support, and then reaching out, stretch. So again, the same thing. Try to think of your spine, keeping your spine straight. So as if you want to get it in line with that leg. Keep your toe tipped upwards towards your nose as much as you can. If you're inside and you feel comfortable touching the bottom of your shoe, you can actually take your toes and pull them towards yourself. And your head should either be chin down so that your crown chakra, the top of your head, is jutting forward, or if you're chin up, you should be reaching it towards your toe, as if you're trying to touch the tip of your, if you have a beard, trying to touch that to the tip of your shoe. And then when you're ready, just push forward, stand up straight, take a deep breath, and relax. Let's change to the other side. So I'm going to take a more than shoulder width wide stance, shoulder width wide. I'm going to put shoulder width deep. I'm going to shift back to my rear foot. Fold the inside hip. For some of you, it's Shei Kwa, so that your tailbone can be relaxed and open. And then reach, extend your spine,
check to see that you have a very dissatisfied expression on your face. When you're ready, breathing deep, push forward, standing up straight. Let's add one more. This is one I've been talking about doing, and we can start to develop the stretch out of the Tai Chi form. So we're going to use something from the third section to get into this type of stretch that I have been talking about here. There's a posture, and it occurs twice in the third section. I'm not going to try to do the Mandarin. It's called snake creeps down. So it happens in the third section. We have hook, and we have corner whip. And then for snake creeps down, after that corner whip, we turn the palm, and we turn the feet, and this hand comes back in and around this way. So we're going to practice just making that circle, and then what we're going to do is extend how far apart the feet are to get into that deeper stretch. So here's another way to do the same posture. If we have hook and we have corner whip, if I step out much further and I get to here and I have my whip, as the energy is coming in, I follow the energy and become underneath it. And then this other hand goes on top of it. And we bring the power down. And then from here, I'm trying to get under my opponent's defenses. So I want to come back up this way into whatever the next thing is. So this type of stretch, I know there's some students here training very hard, very seriously. If you can do this posture, please do it on your own naturally, safely. Before we start to get into this, one of the main points I want to make is anything that we do in this class, you want to make sure that your knee is behind the toe when it's in front. So, like this, my toe and my knee are on the same line. Here my knee is behind. This is actually more structurally stable than this. And when it goes further, if my knee is here, or my foot is still at the line, and my knee goes further, you can't see the stretching on my pants, but the tendons are stretching. So this kind of cantilever over the front knee is dangerous. This is why people have knee injuries. So when you see me doing this deep posture, if I move this, and you watch my profile here, my knee doesn't go in front of my toe. When I change on this side, the same thing. I don't shift my knee past my toe. It only goes to here before I change to the next one. This is the proper alignment. Once you understand it, you won't forget it. And this is what will allow you to do this kind of deep Tai Chi well into your old age. Master Su, Wong Sahai, TC, the reason they can do this till they're old is because of the alignment. The body is built the correct way. Okay, where were we? Hook, corner whip. So I turn my square facing west. And now for snake creeps down, as this comes across, I open one foot, I can turn the other foot, and then stepping back. That's shoulder width wide, and you can make that as deep as you like. Coming across, back up. We're just going to repeat sort of one set of motions. We'll do it on the other side as well. So we have hook, turning 90 degrees. This is Danbian, single whip. And now turning 90 degrees back, like you're pulling a rope across, down, and back. So what's happening here is the opponent is reaching at this height. They're perhaps want to grab, perhaps want to strike. As the power is coming in, I'm actually finding the best place to connect to the power. And once I do, the other hand comes on top like this. So you may have seen you may see pictures of TC or video of TC when he's doing something. You have hook, corner whip, and this comes across here. This, if you see this, this hand is under the forearm. This hand is holding the wrist. So if I have a hand, the other wrist is here and I'm pulling it back. The other person is actually getting their hand, their wrist, bent and deformed this way, twisted. So this may look, what do we say? We have hook, corner whip. No, how did we get into it? It was hook, corner whip this way, here. So it may look like I'm doing some yoga or something, but I can be using this same posture. I'm pulling my opponent to pull. And you see there, I just did it with my arms, but you can see the shape. If I just use my arms, the whole body. So TC would say for this one, like you have a flour sack or a bag of concrete, you want to send the concrete directly down, but you're going to use a loop to make that downward movement. So let's continue. If we start from hook, you can take as wide of a step as you feel comfortable with, single whip, shifting back, and then return. So if we just make this circle, I'm turning my feet. If I slow down, turn my right foot, it's lined up on the grid. Turn my left foot, it's also facing north. When I come back, same thing, feet facing east and west. So just making a circle. Turn your body. The whole torso is turning. It's a lot of work. By the way, for people living in a cold climate, when you live somewhere where it's cold, and because we live in a certain part of the planet, we're affected by the weather, the seasons simultaneously. So you can use forms, practicing forms to warm up. It's a great way to replay, re-practice the things that you know, and also warm up your body temperature. So let's try the other side so we have things balanced. So if we have a left hook, corner whip. Now here, coming across, sink, turning. Let's go slow. Hook, corner whip. I turn my square base, this time to the west, and now turn one foot, then the other, coming across, back up the center. So over, down, up. You could essentially leave your feet in a 90-degree direction. For the Qigong, for the warm-up, for the Dao Yin, not as important. For the martial art, when I turn my feet, I don't want to leave this open. It's structurally, we can do it. But for the martial art, you're not as mobile and your gait is open. So we want to make sure that that's close. Let's try the other side just a little bit. Hook, corner whip, snake, creeps down, coming back up. And you can continue that movement. Turn one foot and the other. And so the turning of the feet, by the way, this goes all the way back to the very first posture that we learned. When we do grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off. These little feet adjustments, grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off, roll back, right? In our sort of second or fourth custom posture, depending on how you slice it, we end up in the Bagua. Our square shape here turns, and we have this, which also featured in Wing Chun. So we're passing through quite a number of postures. The same thing, when we do snake creeps down, you can do the same. If I do hook and whip, I can step to the corner. I can technically turn this foot first before I open this side. This is...
Brian,
Yes, go ahead.
can I ask you to really break down slowly the foot movement? For example, are you pivoting on the heel on both feet? And when, I'm not quite seeing when that forward foot is pivoting and when it's
Okay,
staying in
let's
place.
actually do that slowly. And let's see if I can get my feet as close to the camera as possible. I wonder, wonder if I can lower this thing. All right, that's about as low as I can get it without really changing my rig up too much. So which is fine. So if I'm doing hook and corner whip, when I step to the corner, I'm actually stepping from my heel to the 90 degree. And then I'm turning this other foot. And let's just work on it section by section. So I'm opening and then I'm turning this foot. So this one is heel, heel. I'm turning on my heels both times for one side to the other, right? So if I have hook, now here's the thing, perhaps there's some way for me to step here and turn. If I know that I'm stepping into a dangerous situation, maybe I'm dealing with multiple opponents at the same time, and I may not actually want to get into that situation, I'm still ready to retreat. You may step into the situation backwards and find out, okay, I've got a gap I can go through. Or you may step through and find out that's not what you want, and so you have to change to something different. So this footwork is variable, but we need to know, the most important is that everything is lined up on a grid, turns 90 degrees. And make sure your knee is also, so when my toe turns 90 degrees, you see my knee is following my hand and my toe. Because the alternate is this, my foot wants to turn 90 degrees and my knee doesn't go with it. That's dangerous. That's going to create a knee injury. Or vice versa. Go ahead, yes, question.
One more question. It seems to me most foot patterns when you're pivoting, it would be heel on one foot and toe on the other. But this is one of those rare, it seems, exceptions where it's heel and heel. And
there's a general rule of thumb for Tai Chi that says advancing, we go heel first, and retreating, we go toe first. So if you think about movements let's see, what's Repulse the Monkey is here. We want to check. Here's a great angle because you can see my foot. When we're stepping backwards, we want to check. In fact, in TC's Repulse the Monkey, I got to put this back up to show this because I don't know where the correct setting is. So, okay, in TC's, after we have this opening, not only am I stepping, but I'm doing a head check. That's, once the student has learned the first form, Repulse the Monkey, it contains a technique, but then a lot of times, because there's three, there's an overarching, which is we may be cornered and need to move backwards. And so if that happens, we accommodate our opponent, but we don't step into something bad, right? So when we do Repulse the Monkey after turn back to look at the moon, we have a scoop. Here, when I'm stepping back, I'm looking to make sure it's safe. And then when I step back, I change. The same. I scoop on this side. And then when I'm stepping back, I still have my opponent. So I'm looking not more than 90 degrees so that I can see behind me. And then when I'm advancing, if I grasp the sparrow's tail and ward off, grasp the sparrow's tail, my heel is forward. Right, so going usually, and side to side changes based on what's the difference between the heel and the toe. We can think of the heel as rooting and the toe as speed, right? One is kind of sticky and the other sort of fast. Because here, using my heel is an extension of my leg. It's like taking a pencil and sort of resting it straight onto the paper, onto the desktop, right?
and then pivoting that pencil where I want to turn to end up. Whereas the toe, so let's use cloud hands in the form as an example. If cloud hands is right and left, do I want to step with my heel and change, or do I want to step with my toe and then heel? So this gets into like the finer details, the finer principles of Tai Chi, moving principles. When I'm doing cloud hands, after I do this, am I looking to slide in and do the thing, or am I looking to take the space and press? Because the one is rooting. Heel is, I have to support my body weight on the heel, but my toe does not. We can do what's a weighted cat stance, which is like 90-10, there's like 10% weight there. But usually that's for a change. There's some kind of shift step that's going to happen, like a double step if you're learning something else. So, is that?
Yes, thank you.
More clear, yeah. There are rules, there's sort of principles that define this movement. Let's do some Tai Chi. I think it's been a lot of time. So you can use this posture, as we said, from the form, right? The heel toe doesn't really matter. And coming across, when you sink, keep your knee lined up with the toe. And by the way, this is why you may also see people on this one, because if you're getting very deep, instead of lined up 90 this way, they may angle it, but the knee following the same angle. And don't be afraid, by the way, to use your hands if you need to, okay? If you're doing some deep stretching and you're down here, you don't have to be purist, right? You can, if you like to, reach this hand all the way across there, but then when you want to get up, oh, you're stretching so much, you can use your hands. It's fine. Not recommended, not the best way, but protect yourself, self-defense. Let's do just the first section. Bring the head top up. Relax your tailbone. Bring everything to the center for Tai Chi harmony. Open shoulder width wide. Tai Chi 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 commencement. Here you're resting. Take a deep breath and check. Is your head top up? Are your shoulders relaxed and rounded? Your tailbone sinking? And then from here until we close the form, there's no breaks in the movement. This is one reason it's difficult to teach. So imagine when you set your pencil on the paper, it stays connected the whole time. You're drawing one single line. If I add breaks, it's so we can see the shape. Breathing deep, grasp the sparrow's tail. Step forward. Ward off. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Ward off. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance. Right. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands. Hook. Down in. Turning north. This is T-sole. Sanshi. Lift hands to up posture. We're rolling down. Crane. Opening the wings. So wei, pi pa, lo shi, press. Tui bu. Bai hu, lim si. So wei, pi pa, lo shi, han shou. Brush knee. Twist step. press. Brush knee, C-step, press, holding the moon in the chest. Final arch way. Corner. Parry. Punch. Roof on. Subi. Press. Press. Return tiger to mountain. Walking. Right. Left. Bring everything back to the center. Take a deep breath. I shortened it there because I ran out of space. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Okay, let's practice something. Let's practice our balance. And while we do, we should be talking about having fun, right? Do you have at least a half smile? Because that's sort of the minimum. You can have a full smile if you want. By the way, having a full smile for too long is actually not a good idea. So, starting from the center, imagine that we're going to develop an imaginary line that goes from the space that's right between your feet, that's right underneath the center of your torso, that's directly underneath the top of your head, and it's going to go up there for as far as you can imagine. And so imagine that this is like a laser, right? You can give it a color, you can give it an intensity, you can give it a brightness, you can give it many ideas, thickness, how intense is it, how tangible is it visible, is it invisible? But I want you to have this imaginary line, and from that line, we're going to take, as if it's a string, and you have something underneath it that's swinging, almost like a clock or a pendulum, something like this. So when you do your X-stepping, I want you to make it that you're so light and effortless, hanging from the string. The only weight you feel is at your tailbone and at your feet where they cushion your body from connecting to the ground. So pick the string up, swing it back to the corner, and settle into place. The same thing moving forward. We just have to pick it up 1 centimeter and then return back to the center. I want you to use your chi body. So lift the string and drag it to the corner, and then allow your feet and your tailbone to make it stop. And then come back to the center, the same thing. So pick up the string, shift it, use your feet for the brakes so you don't slide off into the corner, and then come back to the center. Rear right. So the whole time breathing, pick up the string, set it down in the corner. Swing it back to the center, keep the momentum swinging forward, and set it down into the corner. Center. Bouncing front left. Still breathing. Center. Momentum. Rear right. Center. So make it even more effortless. Relax your breathing. Keep the head top way up there. Feel the yin and yang. The yang is moving up and the yin is sinking with gravity. Chen Manqing said, borrow energy from the earth. And said, borrow energy from heaven. Come back to the center, take a deep breath, relax. By the way, when we stand, the same thing. Don't let your posture here, and also, this is too straight. Relax the chest, tailbone, and the knees, we don't want them to be locked. If they're locked for a long time, and then we go to move them around, it's different. So, let's go to that. Let's use the same exercise to balance. So, again, whether you think of this as you're taking your body offline, I don't know how effective. I try to teach the same concept in several different ways so that we can see it from a number of ways. But you can just think of this as if you leave your body offline, if you went into some type of science fiction laboratory and put your body on a rack, and then they had a machine or a robot come out and move it around for you. That's what I want you to do, is take your body and let it relax entirely. And the machine that's controlling it is your brain. So if you want to move something outside of the body telekinetically, right? You want to take the coconut and pick it up into the air without touching it. You have to first start by doing something inside of the body, controlling something inside, and then control the body itself. So the same way, relax entirely. We don't have to be in Tai Chi harmony. And then when you step back to the corner, the string is holding you up there. The leg and arm will float on their own. There's no effort. Step back to the center. And then step front right. Grip the ground and let the other side floating. Center. The string pulling you up. The chi floating on its own. Grip the ground. Come back to the center. We'll do one more round of this. So feel the string lifting you up, and the chi body makes the physical body effortless. Center. We're connected to the earth. We don't float away. Grip the ground. Center. Front left. Come back to the center. Relax. So this is the sort of effortlessness we should be practicing when we're doing anything. Sitting, we can make our body this lightweight. So when you do the Tai Chi form, same thing. By the way, daily practice is required. Find a way to make it fun. We said earlier, a lot of times I say have fun, be safe. These two terms are connected. How can you ensure that you will have fun? One guarantee that you will have fun is if you're safe. Whatever activity is that you're doing, if you're not in danger, if you're safe, you can. The opportunity is there to have fun, whether you choose to or not. If you want to be grumpy, everyone just had a child on vacation and knows what that's about. You can choose to be unhappy, but if you're safe, and then the opposite is also true. If you tell someone to be safe, then if they're safe, the likelihood for fun will arise. So TC telling people have fun, be safe. This is they sort of yin-yang statement of each other. And as Tai Chi principles, saying when you practice you should have fun and be safe. Practice with the sort of lightweight effortlessness with the chi. When you're practicing your stretching, remember the ideas that when you're turning, the knee has to follow the toe. Knee is not going past the toe, etc. Protect the knees, baby joints of the body. Class is the Google is telling me it's time. So before we close, anyone have questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? And blurt them out as needed, as required. By the way, I mentioned something earlier, being in your chi body, letting the chi and the string. For new practitioners, there's people watching, we have new people watching on YouTube all the time. Chi is a fake it until you make it. It's a real phenomenon. We could talk at length about it. But if you don't feel it, when we say, let your head top hit the ground, right? This energy moving, or we say reach out your hand and extend the energy. If you don't feel it in the beginning, you have to still practice. You have to still imagine what it would be, what it is to have your tendons open. So you have to sort of fake it till you make it. And this does not, if for anyone that's familiar with Seinfeld, you cannot be George Costanza, fake it till you make it. He was not actually trying to be an architect. He was just saying he was an architect. In this case, we actually have to draw our Tai Chi blueprints. Let's close. Breathing, gathering the energy and compressing it in our center. We have just a few minutes. If the video cuts out because it's an automated service, it may cut off on us. If it does, have a great weekend. Have fun. Be safe. In the meantime, do the long breathing. So grip your toes, reach all the way as high as you can, breathing in as much as you can. And then here, letting the hands float. You can think of compressing the chi without using your muscles, like you want to push down cotton into a big sack, into a big bag, but you're not using any energy. And so the hands, the chi will float on top of the existing chi. And then you should add one more thing. Put something in your mind. Something fun. Breathing deep. Because time's limited, I'm going to do 3 more. So go at your own pace. And when you finish your Tai Chi, Kung Fu practice, take some time to meditate. So bring everything back to the center in Tai Chi harmony. Put your mind up to the third eye. Grip the toes, lift the base of the torso, connect the tongue. Internally, take a second to focus your mind on your mind. Take a second internally to say thank you to yourself. Bring your mind back into the dantian behind the navel. One long, last, deep breath. And that's it. Call, write, text.